Hey all, here at OS Reviews. Today we're taking a closer look at the Digdiy D10. These are TWS wireless buds, which sell for under 70 bucks, and just like the trend is these days, even for a budget pair, it comes with active noise cancellation baked in, which can reduce ambient noise up to 28 decibels, also has a reverse audio transparency mode that lets noise in, so you can hear things without removing these, and it also comes with Qi wireless charging support, so you can put it onto a Qi charging mat to quickly top it up. In fact, the Qi charging is pretty much the, I think, most distinctive feature because most of the other budget ANC buds we've seen doesn't have that capability. But aside from that, it is going to be quite similar to most of the other pairs we've seen recently, including battery life. It will last for upwards of 8 hours for the buds, and then with the case you get about 2 extra charges for a combined total of 30 hours when on the road. They use touch controls as expected, and these do have volume controls directly on them, which is always great to see. You can tap once on the left or right side to raise it higher or lower, without the need to turn to your smartphone to change the volume. It comes with SBC and AAC audio codec support using Bluetooth 5.2, so the latest version of Bluetooth. There's a slight update after 5.0, so this one should even improve the stability of the connection a tad more. Packaging wise, we have just the D10 buds themselves, along with a quick start guide / user manual, which I'll talk about more in a second in terms of the controls, and there's also some spare silicone tips as well as a USB Type-C charging cable. The reason why I want to briefly mention the quick start guide here is because, interestingly enough, in terms of the adjustments for the ANC as well as the transparency, there's actually no way to turn the ANC off directly on these. So you can long hold for 2 seconds on the right side to turn it on or switch into the transparency mode, but these are the two only options that you have. Usually if you hold for 2 more seconds, it would change into a off mode, which is just listening to regular music without ANC, but on these, if you hold for 2 more seconds, it will then switch back into the ANC mode. So either active noise cancellation will be on or the transparency will be on. That's kind of a weird design quirk in my opinion, but aside from that, again, the controls do allow you to do everything, including volume, playing and pausing, skipping tracks, as well as answering calls, and even bringing up the voice assistant. So taking a closer look at the design of the battery case here, it is a pretty traditional kind of look. It's made out of a polycarbonate plastic. Here's a quick size comparison with Apple AirPods, a little bit thicker as well, but overall not too bad. Still easy enough, I'd say, to put into a pocket and kind of take with you when you're on the road. On the bottom here, we do see the USB Type-C charging port if you don't want to use wireless charging, which by the way, you'll charge just by lying it flat onto the pad. In fact, here's a quick demo. I'm just going to put it on top, and you can see the charging here has automatically started, and it's a nice little extra option built on in. There's also a reset key that you can tap on, and then again we have the battery indication for the casing, and whenever you open up the door of the battery case, you can see how the buds will automatically pop onto life and begin to connect with your device. So the pairing process is quite fast and speedy. Inside here we have a bit of branding info, and then the buds, like most, are held into place magnetically. They don't really fall loose, and overall it's a nice compact design. Closer look at the buds. They're constructed also out of plastic, but they're pretty easy to hold and feel comfortable. The stem here houses 2 microphones on each side for, again, offering the audio transparency and the ANC modes. And then on the inside here, we do have a more glossy finish, a bit more similar to a piano black. And overall, it's relatively elegant. Charging contacts on the bottom and a slight tilt that gives it a relatively ergonomic fit. They recommend for you to just pop these in and kind of twist them counterclockwise to get a proper seal. And they do feel quite tight and comfortable when I was wearing them earlier. I was able to kind of jog, move around a bit, shake my head, and they still stayed in place pretty well without falling loose. Here's just a quick size comparison with regular AirPods. The stem, as you can see here, is a little bit shorter. When it comes to performance and audio quality, I would say that the D10s do slightly exceed my expectations in the sense that they are very clean sounding, so even in the ANC mode, I was not really able to hear any hints of a hissing, humming, or any distortion in the background, aside from just the music itself. So perhaps using the latest Bluetooth version 5.2 is making a slight difference there. Latency also wasn't an issue, despite the fact that it lacks aptX audio codec support, I was still able to watch YouTube videos, and the left and right side never got out of sync with each other. Same thing goes when it comes to playing and pausing the music. Everything was still quite smooth. You do have a nice touch of bass if you're listening to a drum beat or EDM music. There's a nice amount of a kick. It's not going to be the most bass heavy pair of headphones in the world, of course, but it is satisfactory, I think, for most folks as they are getting immersed in the music. Mids also are solid with plenty of details in the vocals and instrumentals. Trebles also sound clean. I would say maybe the treble is one area that has a little bit more lack of detail compared to more expensive buds that can offer even more layers of detail that you can discern, but on these are already quite good considering their price, as well as for being active noise canceling when the mode is always turned on. As a whole, they're definitely pleasurable to listen to, and I was able to kind of enjoy the music. When it comes to the effectiveness of the ANC and Transparency modes, I would say it does a good job as far as ANC budget buds are concerned. It reduces about 80% of the background noise in my testing, I'd say. So if you have a fan noise in the room, your computer sound, or an engine of a car, it will repress those lower frequency noises quite well, comparable to some of the other pairs we've seen recently from the likes of Zendir, the ZenPods, for example, the MPOW X3s, just to name a few. So lower frequency sounds are doing impressively well, and you don't really hear them at all. Higher frequency sounds, though, like humans' voices, can still creep in. It's not to the same extent as larger over-ear cell headphones from Bose, for example. But again, at this price point, I think it already is punching above its weight. Now, the audio transparency mode, I think, is a little bit weaker than the ANC effect on these particular pairs. They definitely do work in magnifying the noise around you, but they're a little bit on the weaker side in terms of, I think, the volume for the amplification could be cranked up a touch more and it would be even better. However, I didn't really have any complaints. I was still able to have a conversation in that mode while wearing these at the same time. So that's more or less it as far as our quick hands-on review of the Digdiy DIY, kind of a strangely named, but actually pretty solid performing pair of TWS wireless buds with active noise cancellation, the D10s. More than anything, it's not really a new concept anymore to see ANC on budget buds, but this one here does have the latest Bluetooth version 5.2, as well as, again, support for Qi wireless charging, which is a nice little convenience, and overall offering sound quality that's solid, connectivity, which is solid, and ANC, which does make a difference if you're in louder areas, and also slightly above average battery life. So if you're interested, you can check out more details in the links down below, but for now, that's been our video. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews.